Have you ever sat back and wondered which move could quietly flip the Western Conference upside down before the trade deadline even arrives? Imagine a scenario where the Lakers walk into that volatile trade market not chasing the obvious stars everyone's hyped about, but instead zeroing in on veterans from a team everyone expects to fade into the background this season. Could the Utah Jazz, the franchise coming off a brutal 17-65 season, dead last in the West, be the hidden gold mine for the purple and gold? Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with purple and gold passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Because today, we're diving deep into the potential Lakers trade targets from the Jazz roster, a topic stirring up both excitement and skepticism among the fan base. The Western Conference thunders on with super teams like the reigning champion OKC Thunder, a Rockets squad now supercharged with Kevin Durant, a Denver Nuggets team quietly adding pieces to their juggernaut, and of course, the Lakers, still hopeful to regain their dynasty status. But beyond the glitter and glamour of the top dogs, the middle and lower tiers pulse with dangerous talent. Dallas, if healthy, remains a threat. Memphis continues to mold its young core, and the ever-present Golden State Warriors keep their championship aura alive. Every team, from 1 to 15 in the West, is hungry to contend, clawing for every edge, except maybe one, the Utah Jazz. This is a franchise stuck in no man's land. After years of tanking and missing the lottery's top picks, their ceiling appears low, and their roster, stocked with veteran players who might be more valuable as trade fodder than on their court, is ripe for reshuffling. For Lakers fans tracking Eurobasket, the name Lauri Markkanen has surfaced like a comet, lighting up the night sky, currently third in scoring at the competition, following none other than a certain Luka Doncic and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Markkanen has dazzled with a 43-point explosion, knocking down 7 threes on solid volume, showcasing the offensive prowess that made him a coveted prospect in the NBA. But, and here's the twist, it's impossible to ignore that big contract hanging over his head and the health questions shadowing his recent seasons. So the burning questions: is Lauri Markkanen a realistic trade target for the Lakers right now, or perhaps at the trade deadline? Or is there a more viable veteran piece on the Jazz that better fits the Lakers' blueprint? And, crucially, is the Jazz even a good trade partner for a team gunning to maximize every move? Let's break it all down. Starting with the lower-tier veterans, a name that keeps popping up is Kevin Love, former Laker-linked and familiar with the purple and gold vibe. Love's resume is a nostalgic reminder of his peak years, but time has caught up. He represents a potential buyout or trade possibility, but the Lakers' current roster constraints make signing him immediately a no-go unless they clear space, which at this point wouldn't be wise just for Love. He's still a physical presence, a bruising power forward center hybrid who can space the floor selectively, but his defense has never been a strength, and now, with diminished rebounding and offense, he's more a matchup piece and locker room presence than a rotation staple. Love is not the ace up the Lakers' sleeve. He's a fallback plan, maybe a last resort veteran leadership option if no better alternatives emerge. Beyond Love, the Jazz house other veterans: Kyle Anderson, Georges Niang, and Jusuf Nurkic. Of these, Nurkic practically writes himself off in Lakers trade talks, coming off a troubled season, lacking defensive impact, carrying a hefty $19.3 million salary, and fitting awkwardly into Utah's system. He's simply not worth the chase. But Georges Niang and Kyle Anderson? Now there's intrigue. Kyle Anderson stands out as a versatile 45 player who can slide across forward positions and even handle some center minutes, exactly the kind of multidimensional role player the Lakers have coveted for years. Despite a quirky shooting form, Anderson has maintained a respectable 35.2% three-point clip over the past 4 years. Not elite volume, but functional enough to keep defenses honest. Where he truly shines is defense, an underrated switchable stopper who, believe it or not, has ranked as a top 30 defender per defensive BPM for 11 consecutive seasons, a stat that's almost unheard of for sustained defensive excellence. Watching film, you'll see Anderson guard shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and even big centers, mixing length with quick lateral movement. Remember the 2024 playoffs when he held his own against Nikola Jokic? That's the kind of tenacity and savvy the Lakers need as they look to tighten up defensively. Slow-mo, as he's affectionately nicknamed, moves quicker than his moniker suggests, a crucial asset when switching on pick and rolls or providing help defense. Now, picture the Lakers trading a guy like Maxi Kleber, whose health and consistency have become questionable, for a one-for-one swap with Kyle Anderson, possibly including a second-round pick to make salaries match. This kind of trade could practically fly under the radar, but add genuine roster flexibility, defensive versatility, playmaking, and a steady floor spacing presence that aligns with the Lakers' needs on both ends of the floor. This isn't glamorous headline news, but for a team chasing subtle upgrades, it's a move worth serious consideration. But then there's Markkanen, the electrifying scorer who's caught fire overseas but carries massive risk, coming off a down year averaging merely 19 points on under 35% shooting from deep and playing just 47 games. A career low. He's far from the reliable stretch 4 he was projected to be when Utah handed him a 4-year, $195 million max contract, fully guaranteed. And the Jazz haven't exactly gotten their money's worth. Defensively, Markkanen's flaws are glaring. At times a liability, he's been part of Utah's bottom 3 defensive ranking in the league for 3 straight seasons. A 7-footer who doesn't rebound at an elite level? That's a hard sell in today's switch-heavy NBA. And offensively, when he's locked in and healthy, there's undeniable talent, but that's been too sporadic to justify his hefty salary, or make him a perfect fit for the Lakers, especially after they bolstered their front court with the acquisition of DeAndre Ayton. So from a trade standpoint, what would it take? A massive package involving players like Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, plus another contract, maybe Marcus Smart, maybe Jared Vanderbilt, to even make salaries work. And even then, is that price tag worth it? Would the Lakers be willing to give up core rotation players and draft assets for someone whose fit and contract could weigh down the team? The answer leans heavily toward no. Fans love to dream on Markkanen's Eurobasket surge. But the cold, hard truth is that not trading for him might be the smartest move. The Lakers need defense and dependable two-way contributors on their roster, something Markkanen simply doesn't bring consistently. This is why the idea of pulling the trigger on him feels risky, even reckless. As for other Jazz veterans like Walker Kessler, another name floating around, there's even less traction. His fit with the Lakers, his trade price, and overall value just don't line up to make that a feasible or wise move right now. So with all these pieces on the table, Kyle Anderson emerges as the clear best buy candidate from Utah's bench of veterans. He brings versatility, defense, and a manageable contract that could blend well with the Lakers' rotation, especially if Kleber continues to struggle with health and production. In an era where the Lakers front office has shown a willingness to move quickly and creatively, remember, last offseason's savvy signings of DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart in the buyout market altered the team's dynamics in major ways. Adding a veteran role player like Anderson could offer that little jolt of stability and flexibility that the purple and gold so desperately crave. The Western Conference arms race doesn't wait for anyone, and the Lakers know that to keep LeBron James and Anthony Davis in their prime glory years competitive, every roster tweak matters, whether it's a blockbuster trade or a subtle depth move. But here's the detail no one's talking about. By targeting players like Anderson instead of Markkanen, The Lakers not only avoid overpaying for inconsistent talent, but also strengthen their defensive identity, a crucial cornerstone that Showtime eras and even the Shaq-Kobe championship years thrived on. Defense wins championships, and the 2020 bubble run proved that the Lakers can overcome obstacles when their frontline players buy in defensively. The current roster, with LeBron orchestrating, AD anchoring, and solid role players like Reeves, Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent, and Austin Reeves, has the potential to mesh with a versatile defensive player like Anderson, who acts as a glue guy on both ends. So what does this all mean for the Lakers? Should they pursue Utah Jazz veterans aggressively around the trade deadline? It feels like a nuanced yes, but only selectively and strategically. Markkanen, with all his offensive flair in Europe, just isn't the missing piece. Kevin Love feels dated, Nurkic is a no, and Georges Niang doesn't offer enough upside or fit. But Kyle Anderson? Now that's a veteran who fits the Lakers' mold quietly, giving them flexibility and depth without disrupting chemistry or payroll adorning. As a lifelong Lakers believer, I can't help but feel we're on the edge of something massive, an under-the-radar move that could bolster the team's depth chart in ways that matter come crunch time. But is this the move that launches a new Lakers era, or the gamble that haunts us for years? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. So here's the sting that cuts deepest. The Lakers' front office is reportedly staring down a crossroads that could ripple through the entire Western Conference, and not in a way that screams championship. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this revelation may set the stage for the darkest hour, or an unlikely resurrection none of us saw coming. It's no secret that LeBron James and Anthony Davis have been carrying the purple and gold on their backs, but with whispers swirling about potential roster upheavals right before the trade deadline, the question churns in every fan's mind. What if the gamble to shake things up backfires spectacularly in the playoff gauntlet? We've witnessed this franchise walk through fire before. Remember the relentless tension of the Kobe-Shaq era, the heart-wrenching near misses in the 2010s, rebuilding Mays, and the miraculous bubble run that seemed to breathe new life into championship dreams? That history isn't just nostalgia. It's a haunting mirror reflecting how fragile a dynasty's core can be. And this latest shuffle, with bench roles thrown into turmoil and rotational chemistry on knife's edge, does it underline a masterstroke from the brass, or a misstep that could shatter the team's fragile identity? But here's the part nobody's talking about. This isn't only about personnel or strategy. It's the psychological chess match unfolding inside the locker room and on the sidelines, where veteran egos, looming contracts, and the unrelenting pressure of a chasing fanbase clash in a silent war as volatile as any Western Conference rivalry. Are LeBron and AD solidifying their partnership as the unshakable heartbeat of the team? Or are off-court tensions sowing seeds of discord that might surface at the worst possible moment? Meanwhile, the West only grows fiercer. Warriors of Denver, Phoenix's relentless surge, Golden State's tactical recalibration, all circling like wolves, licking their chops at any sign of Lakers' weakness. The coaching staff's response is equally pivotal. Will they double down, reinvent defensive schemes, and nurture unexpected breakout stars? Or will they find themselves tied in knots as opponents exploit every fissure? This season could ignite a renaissance, yet it might just as easily unravel into chaos reminiscent of those agonizing lost opportunities etched into Lakers folklore. Every adjustment, every whispered trade rumor, every shift in minute distribution becomes a loaded question. Are we witnessing the rebirth of a purple and gold powerhouse, or is this the fracture that tears apart a beloved legacy just as it was, ready to roar back to life? As Lakers fans, the tension is palpable. This isn't just basketball, it's history in the making, hanging by a thread that feels thinner with each passing game. Drop your raw takes in the comments. I'll be right there with you, riding every twist of this wild Lakers ride.